speak about NGOs, about the civil societies, about this very important segment of our society nowadays. As I said in my intro, the political leadership was very much keen in all occasions to stress the role of NGOs and how they can play a very important role in our economic, cultural, social development in general. It's not only a special sector or a special segment, no, it's in all aspects or in all domains, in all files. To shed more light on this, we are very much delighted to have with us live here in the studio our dear guest, Mr. Ayoub, Mahmoud Ayoub, former commercial minister. Thank you very much for being with us, sir.
Good morning and happy Ramadan.
Sir, you have been involved into the civil society's actions for too long right now. Before going into the details and before going to the signing of the Charter of National Alliance for Civil Development Work, which seeks to ensure the effective engagement of civil societies into our communities and into our society, I'd like to listen from you the changes you have witnessed, and particularly in the past few years. What are the most important changes we have witnessed in this field, NGOs or civil society activities?
The most important thing which you have seen during the last 6 or 7 years is that the NGOs has been given a better standing and leeway to and open the doors for the NGOs to support the people properly and at the lowest cost possible. I always speak about cost in any project so that it is more effective and so that it can spread to a bigger number of population. This is one thing. Other thing is that cooperation between the NGOs and the government, which is very phenomenal, it's very important, it is phenomenal if compared to previous ages. This is number 2. Number 3, the NGOs are deeply involved in the community. I will say in this respect more than the official organs. Why? Because they are part of the community and they feel the pulse, and as soon as their need arises, they step in to support, and then the government follows them. What we have seen is something very interesting, and it is encouraging and will encourage the NGOs to play a better role or bigger role in community service.
And in some occasions or sometimes they can act as the go-between between the people and the public sector to convey their messages, to really speak about what's going on the ground without any modifications and without adding any touch. True?
That is correct and true, because they feel the pulse and they are very sensitive to the needs of the people because they are part of them and they mingle with them all the time. As business or in the farms which we have, we listen to them and convey the message promptly and accurately and completely. So in this way, the government is better aware of what is happening through the NGOs, because the NGOs are not paid.
Yes, sure.
We are volunteers. And we are
this
very
is going
pleased.
to be another issue which we are going to discuss together. But before leaving this point, sir, what about a tripartite partnership? Public sector, private sector, and NGOs.
This triangle of cooperation between private sector, public sector, private sector, and the NGOs is the best formula for better understanding and better serving the community. In many cases, the public sector does not have the full knowledge or the full picture of what is happening on the ground. And in this case, the NGOs step in. Private sector also is, let's say, a catalyst in this respect, because the private sector is involved with the government or the public sector and also involved with the NGOs. So the NGOs are the base for any community service oriented project or cooperation in the community, and today and tomorrow. This is very important. We have to depend, or we better depend on the NGOs when we are going to the community service, because they know better, they cost effective, and at the same time they are accurate and to the point and what is needed today.
Yeah, sir. I just wanna say something related to one of the most important presidential initiatives we had, Decent Life Initiative, Hayat Karima. I think Hayat Karima or Decent Life Initiative made the public sector closer to the people more than any time ever in our modern history.
Yes.
And here, I should say that now our government or our state is not, they are not living in the Ivory Coast as before.
No, they are not.
Now the case is totally different, and also the public sector, I can say that clear that they are also feeling the pulse of the people, as you've kindly mentioned, in addition to the help of NGOs or recognizing the importance of NGOs. But sir, to implement this on the ground, you mentioned a very important thing, which is volunteering. We are not paid, we are volunteers. The culture of volunteering itself. How do you see it nowadays, and particularly among the youth?
The culture of volunteering is embedded in the Egyptian community. During the 19th century, 20th century, and recently, we see that the community service or volunteering is gaining more ground. Before that, it was based on religion or some sects. But in the last years, it is community service, because what I have seen, I have been 30 or 38 years doing this job in community service. We are all of us, all the segments of the community are cooperating within the NGOs. And when I say all the segments, I mean men and women, or women and men, and Christians and Muslims, young and old, and the youth, and especially the girls and the youth, whom I have seen volunteering. And where I see they are enthusiastic, I will not say more than the elderly people like myself, but they are quite enthusiastic of what they do, because they are convinced that what they are doing is quite beneficial and at a low cost, and it has an echo with the government. When the government is listening to and seeing what the NGOs are doing in a very small community, let's say in Sohag, for example, or El Bahira, or Aswan, and see this is successful and cost effective, and it brings results.
Fruitful, tangible results on the ground, and they see it, they see them themselves.
Tangible results.
Yes. The National Alliance for Civil Society Development Work was launched in March 2022 to include more than 30 associations and civil institutions based on the Civil Development Action Charter. Before going into more details regarding this, in March 2022, better late than never? I think this should have been starting long ago.
I will say better ever than ever.
Yes, amen to that, sir. Very well said. But here, I want to focus on the scientific basis. Now, what's going on the ground, it's not haphazardly done. It's based, it's very systematic, organized very well, and knowing well where the money goes, and to really study the case of who is more needy, and to give the most needy brackets the utmost help and support. How do you see now the way we do look at this kind of work or this kind of action?
The data and the information which we get is quite accurate. It specifies who are the needy and who are the most needy.
Yes.
In this way, there's a cost-effective way so that we pinpoint whom we are going to support, whether in money terms or in kind terms. We have seen it in many instances that the 1,000 families want to have support. We go to each and every family and see what is the situation on the ground. We depend on the data collected face to face. And in this way, the government is quite aware of the actual situation as far as who are the most needy, so that we can begin with them. And after that, we see the needy. When we find that 37 million persons, this is about more than 9 million families are benefiting from this alliance. It is alliance of good,
Yep.
or alliance for the better life for the people. This means that we are going through the right path as far as helping the people, especially in this austere and difficult economic situation, not only in Egypt, but Egypt and overseas as a result of the COVID, and then after that, the Ukrainian war and the chains of supply which have been disrupted. So this affects
And the energy
poorest.
costs. I mean,
Yes.
there are global crises all over the
Yes.
world, and of course, Egypt is one of the countries which
Yes, you are part of the-
suffering
of the-
from
of the world, yes.
such issues. But, sir, here of two important elements: sustainability
Yes.
and the many types of support. Let's start with sustainability. It's not only about today. It's not only about something temporary. How we can achieve sustainable care, support, help, you name it. Because this is very important, and it's going to be more important for those families who are needed. You are giving me something today, but what about tomorrow?
It is very important to stress the sustainability of any project. When these people know for sure that it is not 1 month support, but it is a long time support, this is one thing. So they are sure that it gives them hope that tomorrow is better than today. An important thing in the support which is given to the people, we are helping them to help themselves tomorrow. That is very important. That is to say, we are helping the people to being not only receivers of aid and assistance, but rather also tomorrow they will be productive elements
How
in
to
the
earn
community.
their living.
That is a very important thing. We are helping them to help themselves. This is a part of the sustainability which you rightly mentioned now. So the people know for sure that the government is there for them to help them when need arises. And this is one thing. Other thing is that in many cases we find that we are helping the people in not only in with the food and food boxes, which is very important by,
Sure.
by itself, but also giving them literacy lessons in many cases. So many other areas are covered by the NGOs. When we say literacy lessons, especially for the women in the countryside, it makes a big difference in many things. Even it helps them to be better aware how they can help themselves with a small microcredit, which is also given to them by the NGOs, and this helps them and relieves the burden from the shoulder of the government. That is a very important factor. So the microcredit is given by the NGOs, literacy lesson concentrated through concentrated language encounter, which is given to them, and all these products supplying them with clean water, just clean water. So clean water means lesser number.
Ceiling for some homes.
For
Sir,
the health.
I'd like here to go, or what you have just said, sir, is going to lead me to the second part,
Yes.
which is the forms of support. Because it should not, or it's not only on the ground economic, but it's social, cultural, awareness, because this is even
Awareness.
in some cases very important to help the government with their initiatives, for example, to let people know the importance of responding to the healthcare initiatives. By this, we defeated or we won the battle against virus C, for
Virus C,
example.
yes,
We
this
won the
happened, yes.
battle against the early marriage for girls.
1 million,
We defeat-
100 million for the virus.
This is it.
Yes.
How do you see the importance of sharing and spreading awareness with very important initiatives launched by the country or the state?
We have a principle, create awareness and take action. When we create awareness about the problem which we have and how to face it, that is the action which is needed to face this problem at this location. For example, some people are not aware that the government has many projects which helps them economically. I will not say financially, but I said economically. So it gives them access to their services available. This is one thing. Other thing is that, especially for the women, when she is aware of her rights, she better handles it. and better handle her family, which is also very important. Another thing which I mentioned now, the concentrated language encounter. When we are giving literacy lessons for the women in the countryside, we are raising the awareness and the standard of living and the standard of understanding what is around them. So they cannot be easily manipulated by anybody, which is very important. So we are giving them access to many things, not only money and clean water, but we are giving them to knowledge, which is very important, especially for the new generation. When we see that they are coming, we have capacity of 100, for example, in the classroom, for example, or 40 or whatever. We find that those are coming are double and triple and quintuple are want to study with us, to have literacy lesson, because as soon as they finish, they get the certificate of primary education, and this helps them in many aspects of their own life. So this is about literacy. When we are say medication, for example, we are giving awareness, raising awareness about cleanliness, just the cleanliness. It helps the mother and the kids to have better living conditions for themselves in their very small houses in the countryside. A lot has been done by the NGOs.
I mentioned this health care or these health initiatives in specific because, for example, in the last couple of days, it was announced that thousands of children were tested regarding the audio impairment, the hearing impairment.
Yes.
And this was, the early detection is magic. The early detection can help in achieving complete treatment, or they are going to be cured 100%, and this is for the best interest of the coming generations. And it has its economic side, by the way, because whenever you are healthy enough, you are going to work and you are going to be that productive and you're going to build your future with your own hands. Now, how the people are receiving these knowledge? Are they accepting what we are giving them? Go and have your children tested, whether for hearing impairment, visual impairment, knowing well, for example, other chronic diseases, the inherited diseases, because we do have some genetic issues as any people in the world. How the people are reacting to this?
I'll give you an example of how they are reacting.
Sure.
We got $40,000 grant, global grant, for 64 schools in Alexandria and El Buhaira for the hearing impaired children.
Yeah.
We implemented it in the schools and in the public schools. After 9 months of study, we began to implement it, and when we went to Alexandria to see how was the result to the children, they are receiving us with songs and with flags of Egypt and another country, because we gave them a better living condition and better understanding and raised their standard, and they are in parallel with the other students who are not hearing impaired. This is a good example of what the NGOs are doing in Egypt and what they can do today and tomorrow. This is one thing. Other thing is that when we are doing some project and it is successful, other organizations are envying us and say, why don't we do it like this, this organization? So we are creating competition in
healthy competitiveness.
Yes, healthy competitiveness.
Yes.
This
And
is what
all
we are
for
doing.
the best
And we're
interest
pleased for
of the
that,
people, yes.
and we are creating awareness that together we are better.
Together we are better,
yes.
and create awareness and take action. I like the slogan, by the way. Sir, as usual, I enjoyed my time, and you are always an added value to our program, sir. We were very much delighted to have with us Mr. Ayoub Mahmoud Ayoub, or Ambassador Ayoub Mahmoud Ayoub, to be accurate, former commercial minister. Thank you very much. Happy Ramadan, sir.
Thank you. Have blessed Ramadan to you and to the viewers.
Thank you. Well, right after this, we are going to live in a very wonderful experience Well, it's شارع المعز لدين الله الفاطمي, or المعز لدين الله Street here in Old Cairo. You are going to enjoy it with my dear colleague and friend Amal Mukhtar. My name is Nermeen Abdurrahman. Right after this, we are going to be back. Stay tuned.